Now, John Angotti is a Catholic musician and songwriter. In 2006, his CD, Testify, was the Catholic Christian Album of the Year. And that year, he also began a full-time music missionary activities, spreading and teaching the message of Jesus through the country and the world through his music. Now, he presently continues that work while serving also as the Director of Music and Liturgy at St. Philip Church in Franklin, Tennessee, which is outside of Nashville. Well, as I was reading this gospel and preparing for today, this gospel immediately brought to mind a song of his from 2002. It's titled Just Like a Little Child. It goes a little bit like this. Oh, please help me to pray to you just like a child, needing your comfort me through every trial. Give me the courage to trust you with all of my heart, knowing you care for me just like a little child. You see, when Jesus speaks in this gospel about the little ones, he is not talking about the childish, but those who approach him with childlike demeanor, open, trusting, and without pretense. The problem is we are so often unwilling to do that. We hold back. We'd like to be saints, but we're just not so willing to commit 100%. Take, for instance, this yoke Jesus speaks about. What was the first immediate thought that came into your head? I'm willing to bet that it was the image of a heavy, cumbersome wooden yoke that binds a pair of oxen. Something very burdensome. Now, and this is the view of some about the approach to Jesus. The path to holiness is viewed as something demanding, weary, just too difficult. Something that's for clerics or some sort of spiritual superhero. Others simply fail to perceive Jesus as God. He's considered merely as a wise prophetic do-gooder, and so the invitation becomes irrelevant. But you see, Jesus' yoke is the cross. Just as Simon Cyrene helped Jesus carry his cross, Jesus helps us with ours. He willingly binds himself to us and walks us through all our joys, trials, and tribulations. You know, about 2 weeks ago, I had a rather nasty virus. Along with fever and abdominal pains, I had all those nice, wonderful things that go with a GI bug. You know, and after the fever and symptoms passed, I realized that after the fog cleared in my head, I had totally missed morning and evening prayer for 3 days, which is my custom, but I'd not even thought about it. And that's what bugged me the most. But in prayer, I also realized that God had been with me throughout. And I was okay to pick up where I left off. Now, this gospel reveals God's personal invitation to us. Accepting the invitation ultimately leads to refreshment and peace. It is an invitation to all, not just a select few. Jesus' assurance is that yoked to him, we can endure anything. By following Jesus and learning from him is the pathway to holiness. We can make an inner transformation less of a burden if we follow the advice of St. Paul from the second reading. Put to death the deeds of the body, our evil deeds, our sinfulness. And to aid in achieving all this is humility. Religious humility is defined as recognizing one's total dependence on God. It is also the moral virtue that keeps a person from reaching beyond oneself. And that can be a stumbling block to many, taking a childlike humility before God. And the best model to follow, of course, is Jesus himself, the Son of God, who humbled himself by taking on a human nature. And he humbles himself every time we attend Mass because he comes to us in the form of bread and wine. God himself loves us that much that he will do that. So the first step in that direction is, of course, prayer. To quiet down, attune our ears once again to the voice of the Master. Let go and let God. So ask him to give you the courage to trust him with all of your heart, knowing he cares for us just like a little child.